the beginning of the Packers football season. So excited. We already saw what a little karma can do by being a fan of a different team, right, President Stark? Anyway, that one didn't land very well. I would like to have Rena Clancy up here to do our inspirational moment and pledge. And while she's coming up, just one little rule for the day. If anyone comes up to the podium, you have two choices. You can pay $50, or
God, there's an extra hat.
you can put this on your head. So, Rena, what's it going to be?
I will pay a
Double fine.
A Vikings fan?
I'm a Vikings fan,
So I will never.
I would wear it.
You're going down this week.
Just a little friendly banter. Hi everybody, I'm Rena Clancy and I'm excited to give the Rotary Inspirational Moment. Let's see. Okay. Fellow Rotarians, we are living in a time when loneliness has become one of the greatest challenges facing our society, especially for our youth. Despite the endless ways to connect online, more and more young people report feeling isolated, unseen, and without a true sense of belonging. That lack of connection doesn't just affect their happiness, it actually impacts their health, their confidence, and their hope for the future. This is why Rotary matters. Rotary is more than meetings or service projects. It is proof that authentic human connection still exists. It's a place where people come together face to face to serve, to build friendships, and to create a community where everyone belongs. For our youth, for our children, seeing Rotary in action shows them that connection is possible, that service is meaningful, and that they too can be part of something bigger than themselves. When we invest in Rotary, we are investing in our children and our grandchildren. We are building a community that will be here for them when they need a place of purpose and belonging. Rotary is not only helping today, it is planting the seeds of connection and service and hope for the generations to follow. And now, we can say the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Or Eagle.
Last two times USC played Auburn, we beat them.
And now for a known Packer fan, Vernie Welch, everyone.
Yes. I want you all to know this is an original, not one of these recently manufactured. If you wear it for the whole game, you'll have a headache because it's quite heavy. But if you have a couple of beers, that'll help. Anyway, I'm so happy to introduce our visiting Rotarians. Lyndsey and Irene are here from, Lyndsey and Irene Memorial from the Spring Branch Houston, Texas Club. Can we give a hi there? And if there are any visiting Rotarians that we didn't get word of, just make yourselves known. Otherwise, could we please introduce our guests starting on this side of the room? Guests of Rotarians?
Is there a mic? Oh, yeah.
Good afternoon, President Natalie, fellow Rotarians. I'm happy to introduce our speaker that you'll hear from later. This is our Chief of Police, Paul Connelly.
President Natalie and fellow Rotarians, where did they go? There's Sandy and Brian. There they are. These are our not visiting Rotarians. They're guests of my church. They have put in their paperwork to join our wonderful club.
Yay!
I was just looking for Tom's jersey.
It's here.
I'm on the Rotary team. I'd like to introduce a special guest again today, Howard Herbert. Howard is a recent arrival from way north in Walnut Creek. And John Matthews is his sponsor.
Good afternoon, President Natalie and Rotarians and friends. It's a great pleasure to me for me to introduce Wes Harris. Wes is a Coronado icon. He's been here a long time. I've known him a long time. He used to be a member of our club. And he said, Steve, I'd like to rejoin. And so we can do something about that. So we've submitted his paperwork. Some of you might know his son Scott and his wife Charlotte. They're legends in Coronado too. But anyway, we submitted his paperwork, so now Wes can properly be addressed as special guest. You all know how that tradition goes, right? Okay. And Wes, welcome to Coronado Rotary Club, and once again.
Good afternoon, President Dr. Natalie and fellow Rotarians. I have a group of ladies here that are my friends, neighbors. They're very active in the community in different organizations throughout town, clubs. So we have Marilyn, Lyndsey, Ellie, and Katie. Wow. So at any point after the meeting today, come up and say hi to them, introduce yourself. That'd be greatly appreciated.
Good afternoon, President Cheesehead and fellow Rotarians.
That's not my name.
President Natalie, Your Highness.
$50, 2 weeks in a
You
row.
must be obeyed. I have with me a special guest today, Jamie Clausen, who is the Executive Director of the YMCA, here to check the club out and potentially a member of the club.
President Natalie and fellow Rotarians, I have with me today my always special guest, my husband Dan.
Anyone else? No? Okay. Well, on to my favorite tradition, 100 years ago. We're going to skip Red Badgers. We'll get to them soon. 100 years ago, the Green Bay Packers were struggling financially. Local leaders in the community rallied to save the team and transformed it into a publicly owned nonprofit corporation. This creative model allowed local citizens to invest in the team by purchasing $5 non-dividend shares with season ticket purchase included.
Ownership certificate. Excuse me, find me.
We didn't even plan that, no way. This community ownership structure still exists today, and they're the only community-owned team in the NFL. Wow. Now, what does that have to do with Rotary? Pretty much nothing. Except that we are a group of local leaders who like to rally together to make our community a better place, which is what Keeping the Packers did for Green Bay. And with that, I would like to recognize a local leader who makes a difference and is a Green Bay Packer fan, of course. Come on up here, Dan. All right. Yeah, I got something for you.
Natalie, don't forget to announce Micah Parsons, new member of the Packers.
Oh, I'll let you announce that later. Okay, before we get to our Who Am I do just want to say that if you're leaving early, please don't put your badge in the box. Please just leave it with Sheriff Doug, okay? It gets very confusing with attendance. All right, that's my housekeeping. Tom, come on up. Let's hear your Who Am I. And as we talked about, there's options here. Uh-oh. Tom is a Red Badge new member who's going to tell us a little bit about himself. I'm nervous about the hat. Oh, that's beautiful. Packer fan, everyone.
I'm Tom Bogott, and I was born and raised in Northern Illinois. No, I am not a Bears fan, never have been. This is a genuine collector item Lambeau hat, courtesy of Lambeau Field. I grew up in Illinois. I went to college in Denver, Colorado. I was halfway through school, and my 2S deferment decided that no, they wanted me to go 1A, and they thought maybe I should dig foxholes. I wasn't too thrilled with that idea, and my roommate in Colorado was in some Navy program, said he didn't know if he could do anything or not, but he was in a ROC program, some reserve candidate program. He'd talk to the chief and see what the chief could do. And sure enough, he did, and the chief said, well, you gotta pass the physical. I did that. They signed me up. I went from being 1A to some Navy designator that was telling everybody in the draft system that I belonged to the Navy. So I graduated from college, went to OCS, came to San Diego, 1969, met Art Wilcox, who's back in the back there. Art and I proceeded to be shipmates, roommates, and sailing the Pacific courtesy of the government for a few years. I got done with that and went into the reserve program and went to law school here, graduated, got commissioned, passed the bar exam. No more lawyer jokes. I know it's 99% of them will give the rest of us a bad name. So I went to work for the state of California doing securities fraud for 8 years in San Francisco. Then I went to work for the San Francisco DA's office doing fraud cases and political corruption, and there's a lot of cases to pick there. That's easy going. Lived there for 32 years. My wife is a former DA as well. I have 2 daughters, one in New York flying for United, another one who is an OR nurse at Scripps Green here, and a son who works for General Atomic as a program manager. My wife decided we were going to move from San Francisco, and in 2021 we bailed out because she said she had to stay west of I-5. We came down here. I had the pleasure of meeting Doctors Pop and Bailey because I like popcorn and I like to chew on ice, and that's money for them. I was constantly in touch with Art throughout the years. He was up north or down south, he and his wife. And Art finally broke down and told me what he was doing on Wednesdays, a la coming to meetings here. I had no idea. He invited me to a meeting, and the rest is history. And here I am, and I feel it's a real privilege to be here. Thank you.
No, I don't think he's done yet. Put it back on. But he is flying through the Red Badger Bar. Okay, next up we have something very exciting. It is the first big check presentation during my presidency, and I would love for John and Stephanie to come up here and introduce a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. You gonna wear the Cheesehead?
I think John has, because I did so well on my
Yes,
outfit.
Stephanie, you do get
I
pass.
get pass. He can wear the Cheesehead.
John, what's gonna be?
There's no way I'm putting that unsanitary thing on my head. I mean, I don't care. I know those Packers fans are known for their cleanliness.
Bears fan, huh?
I just want to, well, first of all, good afternoon, President Natalie, Rotarians, and guests. I just wanted to take one moment, because when I was asked, hey, do you want to speak for a moment when we award this check? And I said, oh, sure, but let me check my calendar. So when I looked on my calendar, what popped up is that 4 years ago today was the day I was diagnosed with cancer. And what happened after that was I came to my Rotary meeting on September 8th of 2021 and did the invocation. And after I did that invocation, I walked out here to Glorietta Bay and sat down for a minute, and I called everybody I know, and I said, hey, you're not gonna see me for 3 months. So I'm not gonna be at this FBI meeting or the city stuff or Rotary or anything, you know, for 3 months because I was going into emergency surgery, take out a throat tumor blocking 80% of my airway. I was going into radiation, 35 days on this side, 35 days on this side. I was going into 7 weeks of chemo. I was going into the stomach tube. the radiation's going to close your throat. It was all bad news, malignant, etc. And I bring that up because I just wanted to humanize it for a minute, because I think the Rotarians here should be super, super proud of what we do and take a minute for me and for us to say thank you to all of you, and thank you to David Lowenberg and his family and everyone who participates so heavily and who chooses the beneficiaries. Fortunately for me, when I came out of surgery, they said, you have the good kind, it doesn't spread, you'll be tortured for a while and you're going to be fine. And it's interesting for me that I feel so guilty of being a lucky one, who most of my friends forget I even went through being bolted down to a table, unable to move in a room, getting radiated over and over and over. So I'm really grateful to have a small part with Low Tide Ride and Stride for these years, where we've had the Texas Firefighter Home, which I'll let them speak about it at length, but really what they do is not everybody in the world has the financial resources that I do and has the family support and things like that. So when you have first responders and they need to go for specialized cancer treatment, they may be able to have their insurance cover the medical fee, but they have the housing at MD Anderson near the cancer hospital, and that housing being provided free by you is a wonderful thing. So thank you for letting me share that.
Yeah, I just feel like I've kind of been the face of Low Tide Ride and Stride, and the fun and the fundraising and the running and the flags and everything. But really, when it comes down to it, this is why we do this. This is why we donate. This is why we work so hard, is that there are such amazing causes out there that really need our help. And I'm just really honored and thrilled to be part of it. Thank you. Go and bring that up. Coach Jack?
Come on up, please.
Come on up.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Wow.
Yeah, we're doing a photo. We're good.
Not
too high.
Good.
Too high. Oh, sorry. Perfect.
Thank you, everybody. And they're going to say a few words, and then I believe, Dan, you're going to come up as well and say a few words. So without further ado, Irene and Lyndsey from the
How much was that check for?
How much was that check for? $30,000.
30,000.
All right, here we go.
I'm too short.
Yeah, get out there.
As he said, I'm Irene, this is Lyndsey, and we've been involved with the firefighter home since its inception. We are both Rotarians, and it was started by the Rotary Club of the University area in Houston because a fire captain came to the club and said, we have firefighters sleeping in their cars because they're being treated at the Texas Medical Center and they can't afford housing. Firefighter Home has been in existence for 12 years now. 12 years ago, it was $100 and something a night to get a hotel room near the Texas Medical Center. You can imagine what it costs today. So he said, we have to do something about this. The club said yes, and we formed what was then the Rotary Firefighter Home. Rotary contacted us several years later and said, yeah, we know we told you could use the name Rotary, but you can't. So we had to quickly come up with a name change. The fact that it says Texas does not mean that it's only for Texans. In fact, most of the time it's for firefighters from all over the world, actually. Although most out-of-country firefighters have an issue with insurance, so they get treated in their respective countries. So because of you, and I want you to know that Coronado Rotary is tied at the hip to the firefighter home. We have plaques in apartments that say the apartment is being provided by you as club members. Without you, we wouldn't be able to help who we're helping. I had some quick figures here for you. The mission is to help firefighters and first responders and their immediate family. Immediate family defined as someone who lives under the roof of the firefighter or first responder. Therefore, that person is paying for their upbringing or care as well. Our youngest person that we helped was a baby that needed an organ transplant. We've had, sadly, several people who have died that we've helped over the years. years. We've helped over 230 families. And that number may seem low to you when we say that we've been around for 12 years, but keep in mind it's not a one and done. You come in, you have treatment, you go home, you come back, you have treatment, you go home. So a lot of these families are repeat families that come. It was completely free for a long time, and the firefighters came to us and said, we need some skin in the game. Let us pay the cleaning fee. We didn't want them to pay anything. And we said, okay, and that was their request, so they pay $100 and something cleaning fee for when they stay there, but all of their room and board is paid for. You, Coronado Rotary, helped us refurnish all the apartments. We have 6 now. We started out, See to Your Parents charity. I hit up every Salvation Army and Goodwill there was and got used furniture. Your check 4 years ago helped us put new furniture in. Your check 2 years ago, we had firefighters come to us and say, hey, we need recliners, you know, most of them are there being treated for cancer. And so after they get a chemo treatment, they want to sit, curl up with their blanket and watch something on TV. They don't want to have to lay in bed. Your money put leather recliners in every apartment that we've got, your money. So I want you to know how grateful we are. Just to give you an idea of the dollar amount, 7,500 nights have been provided, if you add up the stays. 7,500 nights at a value of $1.1 million, if you equate it. So we can't thank you enough. Lyndsey is the president of our advisory board. And I retired as being president of the firefighter home and now am on the advisory board. So I get to tell him what to do.
As if she didn't before.
But I want you to know I'm moved to tears every time I get the call that says you're considering us. You have no idea what an impact you're having on people who really need it. Thank you.
I just want to add that when you think about a family that's going through a diagnosis of cancer and coming from out of town into the Texas Medical Center, and you think about their finances, and you know that they could be devastated financially if they have to pay for all that. Like we said, the health insurance pays for the treatment normally, but all that. I mean, if you're suffering from leukemia and you've got several months of treatment, that could be just devastating. And of course, the family is going to want to keep that cancer patient on the treatment as long as they possibly can. But then at the end of it, whether they survive and recover, or whether they don't make it, that family is left with a huge bill. And that's why we do this, because it's just incredible for them. And we've gotten so many thank yous from all over. We even have some LSU folks that thank us.
Okay.
So, thank you very much for having us. Yes, sir.
Is the home, I know Dan Gensler, our past president of Rotary, is going to be going there soon.
He's here, wait.
Yeah, he's going to talk.
Oh, good. And so, yeah, so Dan is going to be covered too under that. And I'm so much appreciated. And hey, you're sailing with a retired firefighter tonight, so that's a good thing. Thank you.
I just want to say a couple things about these two. The humanitarians, in terms of what they're doing and the contributions they've made, not just to this effort, but it's quite extensive. If you talk to these people and all the things that they're doing for Rotary, they really belong here in this club.
Yeah,
so whenever
yeah.
you're ready to move, we'd love to have you. And, but I have to say, congratulations to what you've done and what you've created. Luann introduced you guys to our club, and so I want to make sure she gets some recognition for bringing this opportunity to our club. Last week I was in Houston for some doctor's visits for a couple of days, and I had the pleasure, the honor, truly, to stay at the housing that they have provided. And it was an exquisite experience. I had an ambassador who called me and scheduled time to meet and drove me over to the complex, showed me where the unit was, and was willing to answer any questions or help in any which way, whether helping with meals or driving back and forth to the hospital. Very, very gracious with his time and how they've organized all this to have these people available. Because as we come into town, we don't know where these places are. It's just kind of a cement jungle in this medical complex area. It's amazing. We were talking, there's probably 200,000 medical professionals who work in this area. It's incredible with all the different hospitals and facilities that exist in the medical center there in Houston. And so their ability to service all these people, and they happened to have a couple rooms that were available, and so it was truly an honor and a privilege to be able to stay in the unit and see what our club is supporting and what all you've been doing, since 2013, I think you mentioned, is when this all began. So congratulations really to you two for what you've created and what you're providing and what you're offering. It really is a beautiful thing that you've done. So thank you.
And before we switch gears here, Debbie Syverson, I didn't forget about you. She's going to introduce a few people who are here before we meet our speaker. And Lyndsey and Irene, thank you so much for being here and for everyone being here. I know there were a lot of moving parts with getting everyone at the meeting together. All right, Debbie, take it away. Did you think I forgot it?
No.
Okay, good.
We can't hear you back there, so we were just sort of...
I feel like I'm talking pretty loud.
No, it's not you, it's our speaker system.
Okay, good. It's not me.
So, okay, just along with Dan, Rotary is incredible when it comes to fighting cancer. I'm a 31-year survivor of cancer. I had colon cancer when I was only 44 years old. It was already third stage. So surgery, year of chemotherapy. I know so many of us in this room have fought cancer. So Dan, we're with you. Okay, so I'm here to talk about Coronado Rotary Flags on the Avenue. We've got some very special people here today. So in 1994, Flags on the Avenue was created by the name you all remember, Bob Watson. And so we put up 180 flags at 7 a.m. We take down 180 flags at 5 p.m. And we do this 12 times a year. And we also do it on special occasions when we get a call from the city that, for example, wants us to honor, for example, the USS Carl Vincent came in, and we put the flags up in honor of them coming home. So, I want to let you know who the flag committee is. Your chair over there is Doug Weisbarth, better known as Gensler. We also have Tom Mitchell, Ivan Dunn, Bob Syverson, and me. And so, in keeping with all this and keeping us safe, we really have some very special people in this audience. So as I call your name, would you please stand up? We have Jim Woolway. Jim, stand up. Chuck Rainey. Linda Balka. And Doug Bond. Fellow Rotarians, these incredible people. Who did I miss? I said Chuck Vaughn. Listen to me. Hey, I'm a rear admiral, so don't give me any problem. So you do an incredible job at keeping us safe, and we thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you. Police Chief, thank you so much for giving us the volunteers to come out and keep us safe. Also, thank you so much for allowing us to park our flag truck in the police station and keeping it safe. It's in my parking spot. It's in the parking spot. Hey, you know. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. But thank you all.
Thank you, Debbie. And with that, we did a lot of things last week. We have a lot of things upcoming. But I'm going to invite Tina Friend up here to introduce our speaker.
Thank you.
I think this is her.
Okay. I'll play this one. Hello, everyone. President Natalie, I will take the fine. And following Rena's lead, I will double it as well. So thank you. Fellow Rotarians, President Natalie, I'm Tina Friend, your city manager. And let me just say, I've missed you. I haven't been to the club in a while. And today was just a beautiful example of all that this club does and all the lives it touches. And I'm always so moved every time I'm here. And so just thank you, thank you. It's such a privilege and honor to be here and be part of this. You're amazing. So it is my honor to introduce our police chief, who's been with us 9 months already. He reminded me of this, and I was astonished that he joined the city in December of last year. And really, I'd be hard-pressed to find a more important executive position in our city government. You know, safety is a cornerstone of what we do. If you don't have a safe society, nothing functions. Safety matters so, so much. And this club has a deep history of honoring our police and fire. So when we were approaching the hard, difficult decision of appointing a new chief of police, we cast the net wide, and I could not be happier with who we found. We have found the very best to lead our department and support our safety here in Coronado. So a little bit about Chief Connelly. So he has a very varied history. It's really incredible. So he went to college and he joined the Marine Corps, and he was an officer, and you ultimately achieved the rank of captain if we have any Marines in the room. So that was fantastic. Then he went on to the FBI National Academy, and then he ended up out here in San Diego and said, you know, policing is for me. So then he joined the San Diego Police Department in 1997. And anyone have a guess at how many sworn personnel are in the police department in San Diego PD? Want to guess? 2,000. 2,000 is very close. 2,600, 2,600.
Wow.
So it is, I mean, our department is double digits. We're about 70 total, but San Diego PD is that large. So if you think about one person and being able to ascend and achieve rank after rank after rank and end up being number 2 in the entire San Diego Police Department, that is our chief. So really tremendous accomplishment. So which this means is his experience is unparalleled. So I know when we were doing the recruitment, I spoke with some of you, and some of you were part of the process. Thank you for that. But I heard that we need someone in Coronado who knows the hard stuff, who knows how to deal with big events, serious crime, how to keep us safe, to have a high degree of sophistication, to make sure that we have all the tools available to us. And so we have that, and I'm so grateful for that every day. His perspective and insights are just bar none. He has seen big, scary things. He's dealt with extremely difficult situations. He's had to deal with elected officials and lots of crime, and he's done it so well. But my favorite thing about Paul is he has such humility. So another character trait I really appreciate is humility, and someone who has that service mentality, and that is Chief Connelly. So he's quick to joke. He's very sort of self-effacing, and just a lovely, lovely human being. And I will say something that I misstated earlier. He already is an honorary member of this club. So do you remember when President Pat was here and he first came, he already has a cap, so he's already an honorary member. So with that, I would like to introduce up our Chief, Paul Connelly. And if he was to wear a jersey today, it probably would have been his youngest son, who is an extremely accomplished high school baseball player. So talk to Paul about baseball. So please join me in welcoming Paul Connelly up here.
Thank you for the very nice introduction. That's my amazing boss, City Manager Tina Friend. She's a true pleasure to work for. But I must admit, I felt a little uncomfortable coming in here today because I didn't know it was Jersey Day, and I have a few jerseys that I could have worn. My son's, the Padres, because I am a Padre fan. But I grew up in Pittsburgh, so I'm still a die-hard Steeler fan. We have one over here. Although not as well represented, we're a much better team. And that's tough competition over there. So. But yeah, I grew up in Pittsburgh, and as Tina said, I went to college in Pittsburgh, and after that I went off to OCS in the Marine Corps, and I got stationed here at Camp Pendleton back in 1992, and immediately fell in love with Southern California, met my wife, fell in love with her, and never left. So got out of the Marine Corps, and I was actually in medical sales for a couple of years. I sold diagnostic testing for cancer. So, I worked with specialists like oncologists, urologists, OBGYNs, and that type of thing. But I missed the sense of service and camaraderie, and I'd always wanted to be a police department, so I joined San Diego Police Department and spent a month shy of 28 years there. And kind of interestingly, I started off my career as a young officer working on the other side of the bridge in patrol in Logan Heights, Barrio Logan, and East Village before Petco Park was there. And I can tell you, just across the bay and the bridge, it's a world difference. And when this job opportunity became available about a year ago, I jumped at the opportunity. It was very competitive. There's a lot of people that want to be the chief of police here because it's such a great community, and I just feel very fortunate to have been selected and very proud to be your chief of police. So today I'm going to give you all a little bit of an overview of the police department, and then the scariest part of the presentation, I'll open it up for questions. See what you can throw at me. Hopefully I have the right answers. So if you go to the next slide, please. First, our mission statement. I mean, we're here to serve you. One of the things I really focus on when I talk to our police officers every day, the only reason why we exist as a police department is to serve the community. So my expectation of police officers is they treat all of our citizens with dignity and respect and provide the best service possible to you every day. And hopefully you're seeing that. And if you don't, please let me know because I'll address it. Next slide. I'll give you a little glance at our organizational structure. So there's the chief in blue at the top there. I have a PIO or Community Relations Manager. So when you see an Instagram or Facebook post or Nixel, that's coming from her. Obviously, often she's incredible. She does great work, and she helps keep the community informed on what's going on in the community. The police department is broken up into two sections. We have field services, and that is overseen by a captain and a lieutenant. And in field services, we have traffic division, and those are the motorcycle officers that you see out there doing traffic enforcement every day. And then we also have 6 police service officers. Those are non-sworn officers, but they have enforcement ability as far as writing tickets for municipal codes and those types of things. They wear the light blue shirts. You'll see them in pickup trucks and sometimes out on bikes addressing issues. And then our uniform officers that are out in the Ford Explorers every day, responding to different calls throughout the city. And then we have the support services division. That's led by a captain, a lieutenant, and a civilian support service manager. And we have a sworn side of that, and that's basically our investigators. Those are detectives that work back in the office, and after the police officers take a report, the report goes to the detectives, and the detectives will do all the follow-up investigation and make sure we get a prosecution on different types of cases. And then we have what I call the unsung heroes of the police department. This is the non-sworn staff that really makes the police department function. We have finance to make sure that our officers get paid, to make sure that we're on budget. They work with city finance to make sure that we get our budgets in place for the next fiscal year. And if you didn't know, our operational budget for Coronado Police Department is just under $21 million a year. Then we have our dispatch center where all of our 911 non-emergency calls go, and they dispatch the officers' records. Those are the ladies that work at the front counter when you go in to pay a parking ticket or something like that. You'll be dealing with them. And then property and evidence. We get a lot of found property here. People lose stuff, and it gets impounded at the police station. So if you lose something, come by, give us a call. We'll see if we have it. And then when we have crimes, we collect evidence, and it gets impounded as evidence, and there's a whole chain of custody that we follow to make sure that we have successful prosecutions because we handle that evidence with care. Next slide, please. So we have a total of 46 sworn officers, uniformed officers, and then we have 23.5 non-sworn officers. And when you see that 0.5, I like to kid that is not a short person. That's a part-time employee. We have a part-time dispatcher, and they all help the department run. Very important part of our police department, you already heard about them a little bit, are our senior volunteers. We have 30 of them, and they're generally retired people who want to continue to serve their community. And they have a wealth of lifetime experience. We have doctors, we have commercial pilots, teachers, former CEOs, all walks of life. that bring all kinds of experience to our police department, and they're really great ambassadors, not only community members, to community members, but also to the tourists that come here to Coronado, and they help us educate people on different laws and municipal codes, and they're also kind of an extra presence at special events like concerts in the parks or the beach and those types of things. I had kind of a wake-up call the other day. We were getting ready to, I want to say hire, but they're volunteers, but bring in 6 new senior volunteers, and I was approving their background packets, and I get to see their dates of birth. And you have to be at least 50 years old to be a senior volunteer. And it's kind of a wake-up call to see that there's a couple of them that were younger than me. So it's good to know that I have another place to go when I'm done here. We have a couple reserve officers. They're generally people who have other jobs, but also have an interest in law enforcement and come volunteer their time as an officer in uniforms like this. Just so happens that our 2 reserve officers are retired. But again, they are force multiplier. They show up at other events like concerts in the park, they do patrols on the beach and that type of thing. And we have 3 chaplains. Most law enforcement agencies, the military, they have wellness programs now. You see a lot of bad things as a police officer in the military, and it's not uncommon to have wellness programs with chaplains to kind of make sure we're taking care of our officers' mental and spiritual health if they want that. Thanks. So we have our communications center in 2024. Communications Center answered 8,068 911 calls, 223 text to 911. Do people know what text to 911 is? No. So it's actually fairly new in the law enforcement community, maybe a couple years, but if you're in an emergency situation and you can't make a phone call, you can't talk, but you still have the ability to text, if you just pull up, if you're gonna text somebody, in the phone number part where you would put the phone number, you just put 911, and then you type a message, help, and your location, and we'll dispatch an officer to that location to render aid. It's interesting because with technology, if you're in Coronado, it just geolocates, so it knows which dispatch to send the 911 to text to. So it is a feature that we ask you to use only in a situation where you can't talk. The more efficient way to do it is actually call 911 if you have an emergency. And then non-emergency calls, almost 36,000 non-emergency calls in 2024. And one thing we're proud of is 97% of our calls are answered within 10 seconds. And that's kind of the gold standard in the law enforcement community. And that 3% is basically when something big's happening and our dispatchers get a little overwhelmed and they just can't get to the calls as quickly as they can. And it's kind of why we always encourage people to, if it's not an emergency, please use the non-emergency line. I'll get into that further into the presentation so we don't tie up the emergency line. Next slide. So our patrol officers, when they're working on a day-to-day basis, generally they're responding to dispatched calls. Citizens will call in about a crime that occurred or an emergency that's going on, and we call that radio-driven activity. The police officers respond to radio calls and address situations to help keep communities safe. And when they're not doing that, they're focused on community complaints. We get a lot of community complaints about traffic, speed and noise along 3rd and 4th, a violation of the no left turn signs, speed on the Strand, speed in front of the shores, noise in front of the shores, and when time permits, we direct our officers to go focus on those areas, e-bikes, those types of things. And then most of our complaints are traffic driven, so we have our traffic unit that I talked about earlier, where we have our motor officers go out and address the traffic concerns. So crime for 2024, when we report our crime to the FBI every year, and the FBI comes out with their national crime reports, we're always a year in the rears. So for 2024, we had 193 theft calls. That includes grand thefts, which is over $950, petty theft, less than $950, and bicycle theft. Vandalism, 77. Typically that's in the form of some graffiti on the sidewalk, on a business, or something like that. And then motor vehicle theft, 62. Wow. Per the state law, e-bikes are included in motor vehicle theft. So when you look at that number, it's not that bad, because 40 of that 62 were e-bikes. Only 22 were actual vehicles. And then we get credit card fraud and scams, that type of thing. When you look at that, it's a pretty safe community. We don't have a lot of big crime here, which is nice. But I really, as a police chief, I really like to encourage citizens to not focus on how low the crime is, but the fact that just because we don't have big crime here doesn't mean it can't happen, and we all need to be prepared. And a lot of these thefts are thefts of opportunity, crimes of opportunity, because people feel so safe that they don't lock their front doors, they don't lock their car doors, they park their e-bike in their driveway or out front yard without locking it up. And we have people mostly coming from outside the city that take advantage of the feeling that it's safe here, so we don't lock our stuff up, and it's just kind of an easy target to steal things. Beyond that, we typically have nice things here, nice e-bikes and stuff, so it's kind of attractive place for crooks to come and steal stuff. But with that said, still pretty low here. Our officers do a lot of work to make sure that we're addressing thieves, and when time permits, we'll focus on areas where we're seeing kind of a rise in theft, and I can get into that a little bit more further in the presentation. Next slide. Focus a lot on continued training. The officers go to a 6-month academy, and then they come in-house for 4 months of training with the field training officer, but it doesn't stop there. Every year, they're conducting refresher training, and some of the things we focus on are de-escalation. Over the years, de-escalation's become really big. Years ago, we used to kind of run in there and not slow things down and just kind of attack the situation without thinking much about it. I mean, 20 plus years ago. Now we really train the officers to slow down, wait for resources, think things through, look at different options to avoid situations where we don't have to use excessive force, or we don't force a shooting situation or something like that. Have we slow down and kind of really use different resources. Mental health intervention. All of our officers are trained on how to deal with people who are in mental health crisis. We work with PERT clinician, that stands for Psychiatric Emergency Response Teams clinicians. So when we have people that are in mental health crisis here, officers know how to respond to that. And not only do they know how to respond, they know where the resources are so we can take those places to get mental health help. Use of force, that kind of goes along with de-escalation. We had a situation within the past week over Star Park. There was a male that was having mental health issues, and he was out and about challenging people to fight. So officers responded, they waited for resources, they tried to use verbal commands. The gentleman obviously wasn't complying. They got to the point where he wanted to fight with officers, so the officers wound up using one of the tools on their belt that's very effective, their tasers, and they were able to subdue the subject safely. No one got hurt. They took him to custody. He was arrested for resisting arrest, and then after whatever happens with him in jail, he'll get some mental health assistance. And we have advanced officer training. Every year, officers go to training. It's a regional training to make sure that they're up to date on the latest and greatest that's going on in law enforcement with law changes and use of force and that type of thing. And obviously a lot of training related to traffic, DUI, accident investigations, radar, LiDAR for speed enforcement. And if you look at that picture there, one of the things that I am really focused on making sure we do every year is our active shooter training. We just had a recent shooting in Minneapolis, which was very concerning anytime you see that. But this year, 2 days at the Strand Elementary School, I think it was in July, along with the fire department, because they are part of our emergency response to active shooters, we conducted active shooter training to make sure our officers' skills stay sharp. Should we have an incident like that, our officers know exactly what to do and how to neutralize that type of situation. We're really relying on police technology. There's a thing called intelligence-led policing. So our supervisors every day look at our statistics, and you can look at it too. If you go to the police website, there's something called Citizens RIMS, and you can see exactly where the crimes are occurring in the community and when they occurred. Our supervisors look at that every day. When they're developing a plan for the officers before they go out in the field, if they see a trend, they will direct their officers to that area to address whatever the issue that is. And as an example, in the past month, we saw some bike thefts at Strand Military Housing, and then over on Pomerado, kind of in the residential area just west of here. And we saw a little bit of an increase in bike theft, and we had some officers go over and take some reports and spend a little extra time in the area. One of the citizens had taken a picture of one of the suspected bike thieves. There were 2 separate bike thieves, not related to each other. Within a week, we caught both of them. They both went to jail for stealing e-bikes. And both of them were not from Coronado, but they came here to take advantage of the nice e-bikes and the fact that people feel comfortable here and don't lock up their bikes. A nice addition to the city, I think, are automated license plate readers. We've had a couple in place for a little over a year. One's over at 100 Orange, the other's 300 Glorietta. And we were working with Caltrans to get 7 additional installed. It's quite a process getting a permit through Caltrans to get that done. We just recently got that permit. We have 2 of those 7 installed south of the K's on the Strand, one for northbound, one for southbound. We're installing the rest of them over by the 3rd and 4th, near the toll plaza. These are great tools for getting investigative leads to officers who might not have many leads on a case. For instance, say we had a burglary in the K's at 3 o'clock in the morning. We can check these license plate readers, and there's not a whole lot of people, not many people moving around at 3 o'clock in the morning, and we can see who is moving around by license plate, and it gives a starting point for the officers to look into things and see if one of those license plates that was moving at 3 o'clock in the morning was a suspect. 2 examples of how they're already working. About 3 months ago, the LPR over on Glorietta got a hit on a stolen license plate on a U-Haul. We sent officers over there. They located the U-Haul, and a gentleman was in the back of the U-Haul unloading something, and he was obviously under the influence of a controlled substance. So they evaluated him for that, arrested him for that, and also possession of methamphetamine, and he had burglary tools in his possession, which is a felony. And so burglary tools are like hammers, crowbars, things that people typically would use to break into a house. And if an officer can articulate that they're burglary tools, we can arrest them for a felony for that. And then just on Monday, same camera, or LPR, picked up a stolen plate on a Prius. Officers went and located the Prius at Tylands Park. They tried to stop the vehicle, but it fled, pursuit across the bridge over into the San Diego area. CHP got involved, wound up stopping the vehicle, and it was 3 documented gang members from Vista who had all had records for tagging, graffiti, that were hanging out over in Tylands Park. So I'm excited to get the other 5 cameras installed. I think it's just it's a good deterrent when crooks know that we have those cameras. A lot of times go other places where the cameras don't exist because they know they're likely to get caught. And 2, again, it's a great tool for officers to use to help solve crimes. And also, we really rely on community-oriented policing, and that's just working with the community to help solve issues. If we don't know about an issue, we can't solve it, so we encourage you all to call the police on anything that you see. If you see a trend or something, if you want to meet with me, I'm happy to meet with you. My command staff's happy to meet with you. I'm sure I'll hear about some issues during the question and answer session here, and we can focus attention on that as well. But citizens often ask me, how can we help the police department? And I think the biggest thing is just to be a good witness. Don't get involved. If you observe some crime occurring, get a good description of what's occurring, a description of the suspect, the hair color, the race, the clothing, the type of vehicle, license plate you can. For instance, we wouldn't have solved one of the bike theft cases if we didn't have a picture of the suspect that a citizen provided us. So to me, that's an example of partnership of how we're working together to solve crime. And then report the crime. So there's some communities, our community, that has a professional security department that helps keep the community safe, and the citizens will often call security thinking that they're reporting a crime. They need to call the police. And one thing we're capturing when you call the police is the statistic. And when we have the stats, again, we know how to direct our enforcement activities. So, and then 911, I know everyone knows it's for emergencies. Every once in a while we get people calling 911 for very small items, and they're tying up that line, which is concerning. But really it's for life-threatening crimes in progress for 911. And anything else is the non-emergency line. And again, we covered the text to 911, which is very effective. And at the bottom there is my name, phone number, and email. Always happy to talk if you want to talk. And I think that concludes my presentation. Next slide. Yes, it does. With that, we'll open it up. Yes, sir.
Chief, thank you very much. I did go on the website. You guys have done a terrific job, all right? And I have some numbers really quick for you. Noise tickets, 21 in your 6 months you've been here. Speeding tickets, 494 speeding tickets. Wow. Majority, as you said, are on 4th and on the Strand. You also got 3 e-bikes for speeding. That was terrific. Stop signs, there was 193 citations or warnings. Of those were 58 e-bikes for running stop signs. You guys have done a really good job, and I hear us, we all complain that you're not doing a job. I think you're doing a wonderful job, and I encourage my friends over in the volunteer group and the like. And by the way, parking, the city's made $158,000 in the last 6 months. Wow. And this is all available online if you want to look at it. And I really want to support you guys.
Thank you. Really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Chief. Great to have you. I was wondering how I should contact, I don't know if you've noticed traffic lately all over. It's really dangerous out there on the freeways. People are speeding and weaving in and out. So when we notice a driver that seems reckless, who do we call? Do we do the 911 or do we?
On the freeway?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the freeway, I would say call 911 because that'll go straight to CHP.
Okay.
And they have a much bigger dispatch center and a much bigger bandwidth to handle more 911 calls, and they don't really have a non-emergency line. And to me, that would be something active that's putting other people's lives at risk.
And here, we call 911 here?
For here, I would encourage you to call a non-emergency line if you're here in the city. Yes, sir. Depending on how egregious it is. Just use your best judgment. When in doubt, call 911. Let's put it that way.
Thank you, Chief. I have a question on e-bikes. You said 40 were stolen. And I know with regular bicycles, they have bait bikes.
Yes.
Do we have a bait e-bike now?
We have a bait bike. It's not an e-bike. But we've had great success with the bait bike. In the past 10 years, we have 122 arrests.
Maybe we can get a bait e-bike too.
We can look into doing that.
Yeah, thank you, Chief.
One more. What's the speed limit?
Yes, ma'am.
What's the speed limit for a bike?
The posted speed limit on the street is the same for the bike.
Oh.
The car street, or the sidewalk? On the sidewalk.
On the sidewalk, it's 100.
That's right.
You're not supposed to ride on the sidewalk.
Quick question. The new 20-foot, 25-foot from the corner.
The daylighting law.
Yeah, what realistic effect has it been with us?
That's challenging. So the state enacted that law almost a year ago. And basically, they gave the cities the option to paint curbs red within 20 feet from the approach end of a curb at intersections. And the law was designed for pedestrian safety, so vehicles can see pedestrians a little bit better. So I know the city did a lot of work even before I became chief here, and just kind of evaluated things. And parking's challenging here, wouldn't you all agree? And the study determined that we would lose 420 parking spaces in the city here if we painted those curbs red. So there have been some curbs painted red, but it's basically in areas where we see a lot of pedestrian traffic and there's a high likelihood of pedestrian versus vehicle. So we're not painting every curb red. It is an option for the city, and we do have officers that focus on areas along Orange in the business district. And we always try to educate first. We give warnings before we give citations, and but we do what we can to protect our pedestrians. But we also need pedestrians to follow the traffic laws as well.
Thank you so much, Chief, for being here. again, shout out to the Mahjong Club for being here. Shout out to police and city representatives, Rotarians, and mostly Packers. Last thing, get your phones out. Here's a QR code. We have a couple more days with our auction, and wine tasting is this weekend. Sorry if you didn't get tickets. It is sold out. And everyone have a great Wednesday.